Robinson driving him the ball to the basket, trying to get him in foul trouble.
And a whistle at the other end. A 4-0 lead in Game 4 for Grant and the Blazers.
Again, we must talk about the post play and the defense. We saw it in here on Friday night. We've seen it in the other series. They're calling the post play, more fouls. The players must adjust.
The foul was Grant's first. Robinson lost it. Ryder misses from the head of the key. Grant follows. And as for time, after nearly 2 minutes of Game 4, 6-0 Portland.
Mike Dunleavy couldn't ask for more. The crowd is juiced up there into the game. Ryder drives the ball to the basket. The nice little kiss off the glass. The emotion. Let's go. We need you guys. And here is Rasheed Wallace with that little fading jump shot. Elliott just can't handle his size and extension. And Brian Grant, the guy that does all the intangibles, all the hustle plays after 0 for 5 on Friday. This has to feel good. The little extra oomph. I finally got one to go in, and they lead 6-0. They're putting it in the basket. That's what you got to do, Bob. You got, as good as your defense is, you've got to be able to find a way to score, and they have just not been able to do it. Off to a very good start today.
As a team, they shot a near record low 25% from the floor in their Game 3 loss. Here's Duncan. Back to Ellie. Sean Elliott. Avery Johnson, 3 on the shot clock. Ellie beats the buzzer and misses. Duncan gets the rebound. Elliott for 3. He has it again. So the Spurs will get at least 3 cracks at it on this trip. Avery Johnson. And they're still not on the board. Stoudemire with a long one. Off the back iron. Sabonis is on the offensive glass. Behind the back pass, and Stoudemire's second attempt is there.
Boy, the energy's there right now for Portland. You have to really like the way they've come out if you're a Blazer fan. But, Bob, one thing you realize in a game like this, with this kind of emotion, the game will not be won or lost in the first 5 minutes. It's a 48-minute game. It will get down to execution as the energy and emotion is taken out of this game.
Portland's hit 4 of its first 6, while the Spurs, as you just saw, have missed their first 4. Robinson. Now it's 5.
See, they did not double team David Robinson that time. They let him play one-on-one. I like that. Vary your coverage a little bit. San Antonio was geared into their offense, what they wanted to do.
Wallace out of the double team, out high to Ryder, and a whistle from Jack Nees.
You can always tell with Sabonis early in the game how a passer, and then Stoudemire with the little floater. Well, he needs that for his confidence. He struggled 1 for 12 in Game 3.
Foul was on Sean Elliott, his first. Sabonis up and over the glass. San Antonio ball. Mike Dunleavy's team has blanked the Spurs for the first 3.5 minutes of the game. Elliott can't put an end to that. Duncan has it knocked away as he went up. It'll still be San Antonio ball.
See the game plan. Bring Sean Elliott off some screens. Make Rasheed Wallace cover him. That time he had a little jump shot. Never got himself on balance.
David Robinson. The first basket for the Spurs after 7 misses. And it comes after nearly 4 minutes.
We know the Spurs have great poise. They're not going to get out of what they want to do. The Blazers have to keep the pressure on them.
Stoudemire. Got it.
Everybody involved here for the Blazers. Stoudemire has 2 field goals. Wallace 1, Grant 1, Ryder 1, and Sabonis 4 rebounds. Very good start.
Avery Johnson connects. Here's Damon Stoudemire, 4 points already in this game. He had 2 in game 1, 2 in game 3, 3 in the 6th game, a win over Utah. So with the exception of game 2, Antonio foul. It's on Robinson his first.
Stoudemire loves to play screen roll, and he gets a little pump fake to get Avery Johnson to go by him, and he knocks the shot in. Bob, I think he put a lot of pressure on himself Friday night. There was a lot of controversy swirling around him on comments about not playing and not getting to play enough and all those kind of things. I think it bothered him. I think he put too much pressure on himself.
Ryder spins around Ellie, hits the side of the glass with his shot, and Robinson is away with it. Trailing the play, Elliott. Sean Elliott slicing through, and a whistle. The Portland foul is on Rasheed Wallace. Timeout, 10-4, home team.
A miracle finish in Game 3. The Pacers and Knicks meet again Monday night.
Good heart. I think he'll fight through this.
He's from Portland, as many of you know. Woodrow Wilson High School here. Maybe that increases the pressure. Here's Duncan. Nice drive and finishes it with the slam.
So that double team's coming over from the top. That time he spun away from it. Brian Grant cannot let him go baseline. He's got help coming from the top.
Sabonis into the post to Wallace. Now he has it back and misses the jumper.
So they really need him to hit that shot. So David Robinson, when he gets back in there defensively, kick that thing out.
Robinson, count the basket plus the foul. And that'll be 1 on Sabonis.
Tim Duncan with a great footwork. The ball goes in. You see the double team. Wallace is coming down. He gets down there slow, but with a quick spin, he beats Grant on the baseline. Then they go back to David Robinson. So a little single coverage here on Robinson. This time he posts up against Sabonis. 2 quick field goals by the Twin Towers. 5 straight points. They've cut into that lead.
3-point play makes it 10-9. It was 8-0 only a moment ago. Here's Ryder. Gets the roll.
They've done more of that today than they have in the first 3+ games. Running him off screens. Normally he posts. They're running him off screens, getting him some shots on the move today.
Lays it in.
Oh, what a great catch by Robinson. Mario Ellie with a little drop-off pass. David looked like the pass was going to be intercepted. He caught it and got the layup.
And a stoppage at the other end. Mario Ellie raises his hand for the foul, his first.
See, in this series, J.R. Ryder's playing against Jackson, 2 very strong guys. They've taken away his post-up, and then he has shot-blocking help. So where he's at right now, he tortured Utah and Phoenix. He's not been able to do it in this series. See, they run him out of the post.
Nice pass to Grant, who misses the jumper. Rebound knocked around and claimed by Elliott. As you have said earlier, Doug, Grant has to take his game outside against the Spurs. But, of course, that's contingent on his making the shot he just missed. Duncan with the jump hook.
Very lively today, Tim Duncan. Very aggressive. 2 little baskets here back-to-back. He's in the game now.
The Spurs have their first lead. Four on the shot clock. Sabonis left hand hook, no good. Robinson outlets to Avery Johnson. Here's Sean Elliott. And just like that, the Spurs trailed Game 2 by 18 points on their home floor and won it.
They are showing so much maturity. They did not get rattled. They have such a confidence in themselves right now. They believe that they're the best team.
They missed their first 7 shots. Now they've hit their last 7 in a row. An offensive foul on the Trailblazers. It's Isaiah Ryder, his first.
Rasheed Wallace's tendency is to get back and track the ball. He's a shot blocker. He really doesn't play against small forwards. So Sean Elliott finds the open area. Avery Johnson finds him. A little jump shots there. Next time you fake that, you drive it to the basket.
Avery Johnson. 8 in a row from the floor for San Antonio.
And you hear the boos already. That's why I said they've got to keep this crowd into this game right now. Mike Dunleavy's going to take a timeout.
Boy, on that one, it was almost like the defense parted and just created a path for Avery Johnson.
Well, see, they're trying to go too removed on the screen row. Avery Johnson, they say, you can't shoot. We're going to go under it. He tries to go under it. David Robinson changes the angle of his screen. Where is the weak side help as Avery Johnson lays the ball in the basket? Tim Duncan, when he gets this deep in the post, you're in serious trouble. Look at the low post position. The defense cannot get back on the double team. Damon Stoudemire slow getting there, too little to help out, and Tim Duncan with the little jump hook.
It was 10-2 in favor of Portland. Since then, the Spurs are on a 15-2 run. Listen to how quiet it's become at the Rose Garden, which is often among the loudest arenas in the league.
Now, one of the things that the Blazers must do right now is not try to break away and go individually. They have to do it as a team. They will not do it one-on-one.
Wallace to Grant. Ball still loose and claimed by Avery Johnson. To Elliott, who lays it in. So off the fast break, the Spurs now lead by 7. Ryder faces up on Elliott. Unleashes the jumper and hits it.
That little shot will be there because Elliott's worried about his explosive quickness. He's got to trust it. He's got to shoot that little jumper.
Robinson gets deep on Sabonis. Bounces off of him, sticks with it, and there's a foul. Sabonis and the Portland crowd can't believe it. Back to Portland after this.
Like that he can outrun Sabonis. Even though this is a slow break, look, he still gets ahead, gets the post up, and eventually gets the foul. Those are the little adjustments you make when you feel you got a matchup in your favor, Bob.
In general, there isn't as much fast breaking in the NBA as there used to be. But when you get an opportunity to get out there and run and give yourself some transition points, it can make the difference in a game.
Especially against a team like San Antonio. How often have we seen teams get against that shot clock and just get a bad shot because they can't penetrate that defense?
Walt Williams has come in for Brian Grant, who has 2 fouls. And here's Steve Kerr off the San Antonio bench to give Avery Johnson a breather.
Remember now, Steve Kerr played in Game 3. He'd been really struggling 0 of 12 for the whole playoffs. Finally hit his first shot, was 2 for 5. So they will have to...
Ryder to the basket. And then kicking it back outside to Stoudemire when his path is blocked. Bonus's first basket of this game. And another Portland foul. It's number 2 on Rasheed Wallace, who fouled out of Game 3.
Now, this is Sabonis. Now, when you play against shot blockers, watch Duncan and Robinson. Look where they go. They track the ball. You slide out, work behind them, and you get the open jump shot. That's what the Blazers have to do. That's what Brian Grant has to do. That's what Wallace has to do.
Duncan continues to struggle at the line. You can log on to msnbcsports.com for a comprehensive playoff section entitled NBA Showtime Online. Get Bill Walton's in-depth preview of tomorrow's Pacers-Knicks game. Find out why Isaiah Thomas believes the Knicks winning the series hinges on one key factor. And a key factor for Portland.
Called for, he got the foul, and I watched the whole way. Jackie Neese watched him, and he clapped at Jackie Neese and sort of made fun of the call the whole way. Jackie Neese was like letting him get off the floor. Eventually, he called the technical, but you could see 8 technicals. And Bob, in the fourth quarter, quarter the other night, they got it to 14, got the tee, they got a score and a three, and it went from 14 to 20. Basically, the game was over. It killed the surge that the Blazers were trying to make.
After making 80% of his free throws in the sweep of the Lakers, Duncan has shot foul shots very poorly in this series. He's now at 50% in this series, 13 of 26. Sabonis. Oh, you can't be more unlucky than that. That wasn't halfway down. Looked like it was about 3/4 of the way down. Here's Jaren Jackson. He hit 6 threes in Game 3. He misses his first of Game 4. Ryder.
Now see, Sabonis hits a jumper. David Robinson, I better get out and contest it. Puts it on the floor, and even though you're not quick, he gets the shot off, and that is a heartbreaker.
Turns it to Duncan. Turnaround jumper. Missed it badly.
He was looking for the double team that never got there. Played him straight up that time with O'Neal.
Stoudemire cuts the Portland deficit to 4.
Tough matchup there for Steve Kerr. That herky-jerky quickness of Stoudemire. Just got to try to stay in front of him. That's easier said than done.
For 3. He hit a couple of shots from the floor in Game 3, his first baskets of the playoffs, but he's still not in his kind of groove.
Not in rhythm right now, but the one thing about Steve Kerr, you know he's going to keep shooting it.
Stoudemire shoots it over Duncan, who comes up to take him on a switch, and he misses it. Game clock overlapping the shot clock by about 4 seconds. Williams reaches in and fouls Elliott.
Again, Stoudemire loves to run that high screen roll, wing screen roll, that little left crossover back to the right. Steve Kerr just got sort of stopped in his tracks. And Damon Stoudemire's off to a nice start today, shooting that little jump shot. He's 3 of 5. He has 6 points, a couple assists. More importantly, no turnovers.
Sean Elliott at the line. Only 3 years ago, he was a 20-point-a-game scorer. The 2 years prior to this one, he missed a total of 87 games. The hero. 14 seconds to get off the quarter's final shot. Ryder looked like he traveled. There may have been a foul just before it. Looked like Bennett Salvatore was about to call him for walking, but Hugh Evans, a millisecond before that, spotted a foul.
Well, the Spurs had a foul to give, so it'll be sideline out with 3.1 seconds to go. Remember, Anthony hit a shot here. Let's see if Stoudemire can shake himself loose and come up to the top and hit the jump shot.
Foul was on Will Perdue, his first. Stoudemire gives it to Sabonis, beats the buzzer, and misses what would have been a 3.
David Robinson off to a very, very good start. 9 points in the first quarter. San Antonio leads by 5. And remember, Robinson, the leading scorer during the regular series against the Blazers. He's continuing that once again today. Top 10 players in the game.
You think he has that kind of talent?
I think he has that kind of talent. I really do.
Duncan against.
See, Mike Dunleavy put him right back in the game, though. I like that.
Here's Anthony, their second point guard, in for Stoudemire, giving it up to Ryder, and now Wallace against Duncan. Little jump hook is short. Jaren Jackson out of the corner, dribbling up top, and throwing it inside for Duncan. His shot bounces off no good, but Perdue is on the offensive glass.
Will Perdue quietly did a real good job in Game 3 with his defense and his rebounding. Sometimes goes unnoticed in there.
Sean Elliott swishes the three.
Extra shots, what happens? Get burnt with a three-pointer.
For a moment he hesitated. Then when he saw that Greg Anthony was the defender and he could get it away even with the hand in his face because of the huge size difference, he let fly. Williams trying to find Sabonis. Got to get a shot off, and Williams will. And he connects for three with the shot clock winding down.
Now that's his strength. Excellent three-point shooter. Remember game 2, he had 2 big threes. Now Sean Elliott handling the ball. Why? Because Anthony playing Kerr. They want to get him away from the basketball so he can't pressure the ball.
It was knocked away, but Anthony couldn't save it. The fans save Anthony. On the shot clock. Jaren Jackson. Well, Alonzo Mourning went out in the first. Only Georgetown product left in the playoffs is unheralded Jaren Jackson.
Where's John Thompson? We need him here today to watch Jaren Jackson. He's normally at the playoffs watching Patrick and those guys, right?
Long trip from D.C. to Portland. Maybe if they make the finals.
Sean Elliott spotting up behind that three-point line. Bob, good call there. He sees it's Greg Anthony. He's got the size advantage. He knocks in the three. And, you know, Jaren Jackson's been making little open jump shots. Here's screen roll going away from the basket. Nice square up. Gets those shoulders square to the target. Good rotation. And knocks it in.
And at the other end, the foul was on him.
Single coverage here. Robinson and Sabonis. He scores. And then Tim Duncan again with single coverage. When you make jump shots, you got to stay more at home on those inside people. See, regular season, the numbers, this series down a little bit, the rebounds. But that's by design by Portland, trying to limit these guys in the timely shooting by the perimeter of San Antonio that's put them in a commanding 3-0 lead.
Here is Sabonis with the hook. He is now 1 for 6 in this game and 10 for 36 in the series. Out of the corner. Head fake on Anthony. The jumper is good.
I think a little respect there Anthony has for Kerr. He moved his eyebrows like he was going to shoot it, and Anthony shot in the air, one little dribble on the jump shot.
Biggest lead for either team. Anthony is bumped at the other end. Let's go back to Kerr's shot.
See, when you can shoot, you show a defender the ball, and this is what happens. Look at a little ball fake there. Anthony goes for it, a little escape dribble. Easy jump shot that time by Steve Kerr. And boy, are the Spurs happy to see him now start feeling better about shooting that basketball. 1 of 2 today, 3 points. He was 2 of 5 in game 3 after getting off to a miserable start in the playoffs, 0 of 12 when he hadn't played much.
Jim Jackson is in. Brian Grant is back in. Sabonis is out for Portland. Anthony's left all alone for 3. The rebound to Mario Ellie. 3-guard lineup now for the Spurs. Here's one of them, Jackson. Shoots air on an attempted 3. Grant against Purdue. Scores.
See, Will Purdue's not going to leave his feet. He's going to try to push him out on the floor a little bit. So Brian Grant has a little bit more confidence knowing Will Purdue really not a shot blocker.
Spurs have Purdue and Duncan in there with the 3 guards, Ellie, Jackson, and Kerr. And Hugh Evans spots something.
You know, interesting for Portland also, too, Bob. As Brian Grant, we see him on this post-up, gets good position, and Will Purdue plays behind him. Watch Will now. He's going to put his hands up, but he really doesn't jump much. Gets his body up against him. Did you see the Blazers got Jimmy Jackson and Williams out there together? We did not see much of that except in San Antonio in game 2. So got 2 scores now to go with Anthony rather than Augment.
Last foul was on Walt Williams, his second. Duncan along the end line, batted away. Here comes Anthony, 1-on-3. All the way himself and misses it. Out of bounds, and who touched it last? Portland did. Around the perimeter, Kerr has a good look at a three and knows what to do. Steve Kerr, the all-time leader in career three-point accuracy and the all-time leader in that department for a single season back in '95 when the line was a little bit closer. Walt Williams misses. Purdue juggles the rebound out of bounds.
How often have we seen in this series, though, the Spurs find somebody making shots? Again, we talked about Sean Haley in Game 2, Avery Johnson and Jackson in Game 3. Today, Steve Kerr's made some shots. Sean Elliott. Again, it's timely shooting. They find somebody to come in who's feeling it from the outside.
10. Jackson misses the three badly. Into the hands of Grant, and a foul.
Patience of the San Antonio offense. The ball's going to go inside. They're going to double team, and watch the great ball movement, and Portland just cannot get out there. They're in full rotation now, trying to get the big man out, and Steve Kerr knocks it down. But Bob, what they did, they went inside, they got the double team. They kicked it back out, they went inside, got the second double team, and moved the ball around the perimeter. That's just good patience and good offense.
After Purdue's second foul, he goes out. David Robinson back in. Grant, and a whistle. This San Antonio on Duncan, and it's his first. Back to Portland after this.
Gets into the vision, the double team, knocks in the three. This time Jaren Jackson comes off a screen. Steve Kerr with a little up and under fake, a little jump shot. And then the great swinging once again, Steve Kerr, who has 6 points in the game. And you see the shot right there, shot chart. 13 out of 27. The shot's inside, outside. And Bob, if you want your big man to love you, to have some room to work, make some shots for him, and it opens up the whole game.
Just as the Spurs won easily on Friday night with Tim Duncan having a very atypical game, only 5 points. He's just 2 of 7 with 4 points in this game so far, but they lead by 10. And this after trailing by 8. So they turned the game completely around, essentially without him. Wallace from 20 feet.
That's when I talk about talent. And we've seen it post, jump hooks, block shots, run the floor. Bobby's got big-time talent, and he's going to have to learn as his career goes on, as he matures, to stay away from going at the referees.
Robinson's lob finds nobody. Duncan turns, looks at him, not accusingly. They're just trying to figure out what went wrong.
If he had 2 aces, or he was going to fold.
Remember what the Duke fans used to call him in the ACC? Here's Williams with a high arcing jumper that rattles in and out. We'll get a look at Duncan again in a moment. They used to call him Spot because of his scholarly demeanor and the expression on his face.
Not the Cameron crazies. They wouldn't talk with something like that.
That's mild for them. They've got 4 seconds to shoot, and Jaren Jackson gets it away for 3 and misses. Into a crowd, ball knocked loose. Robinson has it. Kerr ahead for the streaking Ellie. And his pass is deflected out of bounds. The Spurs will keep it, but the Trailblazers break the play up.
Rasheed Wallace is going to float on the perimeter, and Tim Duncan steps back in. Again, he gets caught in that little penetration there and that kick out. And again, that's San Antonio's defense, a total collapsing defense. They're not going to give you anything inside. You have to hit those shots over the top, and Wallace can do that.
Ryder and Stoudemire back. Williams and Anthony out. Avery Johnson returns. Steve Kerr played a long stint. Here's Johnson, and a foul. You know, Avery Johnson is the only full-time point guard left in the playoffs. Childs and Ward share it in New York. Jackson and Best, although Jackson getting most of the minutes now for Indiana. And, of course, with Portland, you've got Stoudemire and Anthony. So Avery Johnson at age 34 playing 40 minutes a night. Got a long rest here in Game 4. Speaking of the Knicks and the Pacers, 9 o'clock Eastern Time on NBC tomorrow night for Game 4. The Knicks with the miracle, the Larry Johnson 4-pointer to win it in Game 3 and take a 2-1 lead.
Bob, I was part of a big 4-point play, 6-game Eastern Conference semifinals when I was coaching in Chicago. Trent Tucker hit a 4-point play with about 9 seconds to tie the game, and just dialed up MJ, made a couple free throws, and we marched on to the Eastern Conference Finals. So I've seen that before.
Remember that one. Ryan Grant out high, and hold on. Tim Duncan hit with his second.
Rasheed Wallace is very comfortable playing against Duncan. Why? Because Carolina, Wake Forest, and the ACC, he had success against him. Duncan goes, that wasn't much of a foul, as he's going to have to sit down now with 2 fouls. Popovich does not want to get him his third right now with about 5:05 remaining here in the second quarter, and Mr. Energy Malik Rose checks in.
How about this? With 5:05 to play in the second quarter, Portland attempts its first free throw of the game.
And remember, we go back to the first quarter of Game 3. They were 15 of 17.
Wallace can cut it to 8 if he hits this. Avery Johnson drains it.
He really has become a good open shooter. And Bob, you know one of the reasons why, yes, practice, but he knows where his favorite spots are on the floor, and he gets there. And they get him the ball in rhythm.
Rasheed Wallace backing in. Rose on it. Turnaround. He was bumped. Could have been a 3-point play. As it is, he'll shoot 2.
When the ball goes into the post, Avery Johnson will relocate. You see Stoudemire double teams. Watch, he slides over to one of his favorite spots, gets his feet together, nice rhythm, and knocks the shot in. Stoudemire can't get there. These are the shots he practices, and David says, you know what, if you keep hitting that shot, I'm going to get some single coverage, and then I'll finally be able to score a little bit.
David Robb had 5 assists in Game 3, 2 of them on Avery Johnson jumpers like that, and 3 of them on 3-pointers by Jaren Jackson. And if basketball were like hockey, where there were secondary assists, or Robinson will trigger a pass back up top, they swing it around the perimeter, and the guy who catches the next pass gets an open shot, but it all comes out of the post game.
No question. That's why you've got to be able to establish your game inside, outside, and you can see what it's done. San Antonio has been able to do that. Portland has not been able to do that. Really, that's the difference.
Here it is again. Elliott returns it to Robinson. Around the perimeter for Johnson. He missed it. And Grant has it.
Take his time here. He has the advantage.
Against the smaller Malik Rose, he cuts into the paint, and Rose fouled him.
Good patience that time by Rasheed Wallace. Didn't have to do anything in a hurry. He's so undersized.
He's been perfect at the line, 5 for 5. He's the only Blazer to visit the foul line in this game. Looking to cut the San Antonio lead to 6. There's his first miss. Robinson. And the rebound to Jim Jackson. Pass intended for Grant. Robinson is back to pick it off. How quickly he got back on defense after missing the shot at the other end.
Well, part of the Spurs' greatness on defense, their big men can both run so they can get back.
Then it's Salvatore spotting something here. Brian Grant now has 3.
Now remember, David Robinson missed a little easy shot that he was not happy about. You know what? He didn't hang his head. He sprinted back down the floor and got the steal. So he wasn't happy that he missed that shot, but he's getting back defensively for his team. And you know what? He's still one of the better defenders in this game. 7 block shots in game 3, and he totally takes the post up away from Portland.
Timeout Spurs. But the 8 is giving them a devil of a time.
That's what we talk about, how skewed that 8th seed was this year in a shortened season.
Here's Avery Johnson. Into David Robinson. Sean Elliott, great look at a 3, but he's off with it. Malik Rose on the offensive glass, his specialty.
Look how deep he is on this pick and roll. Robinson now loves to go for an alley-oop on this if they jump out.
He jumps out instead for the jumper that's short. Rasheed Wallace guarded by Robinson. Isaiah Ryder. And Robinson has position for the rebound.
Avery Johnson down over there. I don't know if he hurt a knee or a leg, got banged, but he is down in front of the Portland bench. This could be devastating. This is why in the playoffs you want to finish off series as soon as you can and play as few games as possible. But he's holding that right here. He's going to run at the shooter, and let's watch if he lands funny. Oh, he slipped right there on the floor, did the splits. Oh.
Ahmad Rashad will check on Avery Johnson's condition, and we'll be back to Portland in a minute.
If the shooter, he's going to go into the Portland bench, and then as he tries to come back out on the floor, he slips. Now, you see little cups of water underneath the Portland bench. He might have got some moisture on his shoes there, and as he came back out, his feet slipped out from underneath him. But let's hope the little guy's not injured. He's such a great little player and so important to this San Antonio team.
This brings Steve Kerr back in for the Spurs, who have won 9 straight playoff games. Only one team in NBA history has ever won more postseason games in succession. The '89 Lakers, who won all their playoff games leading to the finals, and then Byron Scott and Magic Johnson each got hurt in Game 1 against the Pistons, and they themselves were swept by the Bad Boys for the '89 title. Duncan was fouled. O'Neal was on it.
Bob, 3 times I've counted in this game, Duncan has been posting up, and the ball has slipped out of his hands. We've seen it happen 3 times. He goes up this time. I don't think he got hit on the arm. You look, see him blowing on his hands. I don't know if his hands are slick or they're cold, but he's having a tough time holding on to the ball.
Needs to go to the rosin bag.
I guess so. Good low post position. He swings in there, and the ball just slips out of his hands. And again, I've seen that happen 3 times with him in his first half.
Good sign for him, though. Hits 2 free throws and hits them cleanly.
Last 2 minutes, we talk about it, Bob, all the time. Very, very important time for Portland here. Down 9 going into the half.
Stoudemire around Kerr, then tries to bounce it to Wallace, who loses it to Robinson. Spurs can push the lead into double digits if they score here. It's Duncan, and it's San Antonio by 11.
No double team. Duncan that time punishes as he goes inside. So with the 11-point lead, Portland needs a couple scores and a couple stops.
Jackson, nice pass to Wallace, who in turn dumps it off for O'Neal, and maybe they threw 1 pass too many.
Just the unbelievable reaction time of those 2 big men in the lane. It looks like you got a point-blank shot. You fake Duncan in the air, and here comes David Robinson.
Robinson, who had 7 blocks in Game 3, gets his first of Game 4.
Shot clock, you got to get it up.
Ryder. Tough hoop high off the glass.
And who came over? Tim Duncan that time. That was a tough shot by Isaiah Ryder.
Her out of the backcourt. Stoudemire hounding him, and he hands it to Ellie. Now Duncan with young Jermaine trying to contend with him. Ellie on the run. Off the glass.
That little one-foot floater that he loves to do off the glass, he's mastered that shot.
That's an old-time shot, isn't it?
That's an old-school shot.
Wallace drills a 20-footer. He scored 11, and again, he's the game's high man.
They're going to go back through Duncan once again in the post. Elliott is a feeder. If they double team, you got 3 3-point shooters out there, and Elliott, Kerr, and Ellie.
Robinson double teamed and lost it. 12 seconds to get off the half's final shot. Wallace. Stoudemire. 5 seconds. Ryder on the move. Stoudemire grabs it but can't get the shot away before the buzzer sounds.
David Robinson did not score in that second quarter. 9 points. 34 points for the Blazers here at half. That's 68 for the game. They have got to find a way to penetrate this defense, Bob.
The Prudential halftime report coming up next. Introducing. You know, earlier we were saying how San Antonio had taken a lead with relatively little in terms of total points from Tim Duncan. And there's a foul. Elliott reaching in on Rasheed Wallace. But Duncan and Robinson are always a factor, even if they don't score the points, because of the way you have to play them and the way they can pass.
Right, because you go inside here and you're going to see the double team. Duncan with the great catch. Stoudemire double teams. And here comes Ryder. And he leaves the wide open 3 for Sean Elliott. That's a bad rotation.
Ryder misses over Ellie, and Robinson takes it. Avery Johnson behind Duncan's screen. Now gives it to Tim for his jumper. Rebound to the 5'10 Damon Stoudemire.
The Blazers have to create some kind of early offense. You see the quick 3. You get that clock working against you, Bob, and you can't score against this team. They've got to get something early. The problem is when you start Rasheed Wallace as a small forward to get that advantage, you lose fast break opportunities because your small forward normally runs for you.
A 9-point San Antonio lead. Mario Ellie on the move. Shoots air, and Sabonis takes it. Rasheed Wallace draws a double team, finds Sabonis. And now they're within 7.
Nice passing. Wallace with a double team. The nice little pass to give and go. This crowd is pleading for something to cheer about.
Robinson is fouled. It's on Sabonis, his second.
A little early offense here, although it's not by Sabonis. Looks like the old George Gervin finger roll there. You don't see a whole lot of finger rolls anymore, Bob.
Wilt used it, of course.
That's right.
Usually with his back to the basket, he just kind of lean in and let it roll off.
And Mike Dunleavy's very unhappy here. He felt that David Robinson was not in the act of shooting. He's letting the referees know he was fouled putting the ball on the floor. They said, no, he was in the act of shooting.
Robinson perfect at the line in Game 4, and a 9-point lead for the Spurs. Sabonis hits the 20-footer.
If it works, go back to it. That little cross-screen action that hurt them in San Antonio. This time, instead of diving, Sabonis spots up and hits the jumper.
Ellie gets it back from Duncan, lays it off for Robinson, and another Portland foul. That's 3 now on Sabonis.
Sabonis is here out of the double team. They're going to bounce the ball right back out to him. A little cross-screen action that they love to get Wallace on that block. He's got the advantage. Robinson helps, slides over, gets in the vision. Nice pass, nice shot.
at the Alamo Building. The only time they've lost in their last 19 at home to Minnesota in round 1. Then they went up to Minnesota and beat the Timberwolves on their home floor in games 3 and 4. They then proceeded to sweep the Lakers, and they're on the verge of sweeping the Trailblazers. As Wallace catches the pass, Hugh Evans catches a foul, and it's on Elliott. That'll be 3 for Sean.
Going right back through Wallace in that post. You either be a passer, if it's one-on-one coverage, take your time. They're going to take this matchup now. They see what is going on. They're going to put a more physical defender now, Jerome Kersey, taking Sean Elliott out of the game now, just trying to slow Rasheed Wallace down just a little bit.
A bit of a Kersey as he enters in front of his old hometown fans. This foul's on Avery Johnson. Jerome Kersey was part of the Blazer team that went to the finals in 1990 and lost to the Pistons, and then in 92 and lost to the Bulls.
No sympathy in basketball there. If his leg is a little sore, speaking of Avery Johnson, Stoudemire's, I'm going to try to take advantage of you if I can.
Rasheed Wallace spinning on Kersey. And let's see who the call is against. We know it's on San Antonio. And it's Kersey, just in the game, hit with his first.
If you're in a half-court game, a big lineup can really help you. That's what we talked about with Wallace playing the small forward position. If you're trying to get in an open court game, it can slow you down a little bit because you got 3 big guys and really minus a runner out on the floor. And that sort of hurt Portland in this series, although they have a great matchup with him. They're getting no fast breaks. Baseline, right in the face that time. Tim Duncan delivers a shot.
And you can see why Kersey is wondering, why was the foul on me? Big difference at the free throw line. San Antonio 13 of 16. Portland with that one by Wallace, 6 of 8. Portland has shot half as many free throws as the Spurs. Duncan's fadeaway is short. A chance to cut it to 6. Stoudemire does just that. Maybe all things considered his best game of the series. He scored 15 in game 2, but had 7 turnovers. He's got 13 here. Avery Johnson can't quiet the crowd. Sabonis goes down hard, and there's a foul on Kersey.
The Blazers showing some life. Stoudemire once again using that quickness. He jukes Avery Johnson, pulls up and hits the jump shot. Little herky-jerky step. Looks like he's going to the middle. He pulls it back, knocks it in. The Blazers within 6. And you're watching the NBA on NBC.
NBA Inside Stuff magazine on newsstands now.
Kersey bounces it into Duncan. There's a whistle that can barely be heard over the din at the Rose Garden. And it's on San Antonio. How great are these fans? Given the slightest reason to get into this game, they raise a ruckus. That was on Robinson, and it's his second. Up on Ryder. Kersey on Wallace. Grant's open. 2-point game.
Great pass again by Wallace out of the double team. He found the open man, and that's the shot that Brian Grant has to trust.
Avery Johnson. Great save underneath by Kersey. Tremendous play by the veteran. take the jumper.
Wow.
And he quiets the fans who used to cheer for him.
Gutsy shot there. You get it to a 2-point game, and Kersey with a great hustle play, Bob, to give his team a possession, and then hits that jumper.
Ending a 7-0 Portland run. Ryder answers.
They're in a rhythm offensively now. You can see gaining some confidence.
Johnson, a hook. They wave it off. The basket does not count.
And then to give him a 4-point lead, and Ryder answers, and it's now back down to 2.
Stoudemire fouled Johnson before the shot. Spurs ball out of bounds. And then Johnson runs. Rasheed Wallace. Acrobatic attempt that could have tied the game. Kersey spins out. Gets it back. And Robinson finally with the tip.
Well, Kersey's in the game because he gives him physical play, and he's an aggressive hustler. And that time now, another possession. Although he missed it, he kept it alive enough for Robinson to get it.
To break up the pass at the other end. And he asked for a timeout. And it's not going to be granted, apparently. He was asking for a 20. And let's see what the call is. They did grant it.
They gave him a 20-second timeout. They said he was in bounds, and he was in balance, that he would not have fallen out of bounds. See, Bob, they changed that rule. If you're falling out of bounds, they will not give you the timeout. Avery Johnson and Stoudemire in a foot race. Remember, that's about the same spot that Avery hurt that knee in the first half. Oh, it looked like he stepped out there, but...
And at foot, Stoudemire fired the ball down, seemingly in disgust, as if they were not granting him the timeout.
Ball was chased loose to that sideline. Well, it's hard to see whether his foot slid out of bounds there, but they give him the 20-second timeout. Great hustle by Stoudemire. See Avery Johnson trying to sprint ahead, and David Robinson just a little bit lazy with that pass. Boy, that's really close there, but that's a big play for Portland as they're fighting valiantly to get back in this game. He's on one foot. They ruled that he had enough time there to call the 20-second timeout.
Rasheed Wallace, a whistle, the basket counts, and they can close to within 1 if he hits the free throw.
Now, you're telling me this kid doesn't ooze talent, Bob? I mean, this young guy right here, they've gone through him the whole quarter. He's got the matchup he likes. He's either passed the ball or scored. The reach in on Kersey, the great extension, the jump shot goes, the 3-point play opportunity. And if he can make this, it's a 1-point game.
He does, and it is. The foul was on Kersey, his third. They all come to their feet at the Rose Garden. Sabonis cuts in front of Robinson and steals it. Portland looks to take the lead. Stoudemire out to Grant. Now Wallace. And somehow Ryder comes up with the loose ball. Now cuts to the hoop. Duncan blocks it into the hands of Robinson. Furious up and down here. Avery Johnson with room.
San Antonio has fought him off once again. Portland with a chance to take the lead.
Rasheed Wallace. Sabonis behind the back to Ryder. In the lane, off Grant's leg, picked up by Wallace, and a whistle from Bennett Salvatore.
Portland trying desperately to take the lead. Isaiah Ryder turns the corner, and Tim Duncan with the block shot. It leads to the transition offense by Avery Johnson that gives his team a 3-point lead. And psychologically, Portland trying desperately to take the lead here in this third period. San Antonio fighting them off. double team Sabonis. Out of a double team, Brian Grant. Trying to feed the post to Wallace. Ryder with a pull-up jump shot. And then once again, back to Rasheed Wallace and the three-point play. So a terrific quarter here by Rasheed Wallace, either passing or scoring. And you see the shot chart. Good versatility, inside, outside, 8 of 13, and they're right back in this game.
The foul before the timeout was on Kersey, who has been hit with 4 personals in just 5 minutes of play. Rasheed Wallace is standing at the foul line, but it's really Brian Grant who should be shooting, and now they exchange them.
That's good refereeing that time. Rasheed Wallace is the better free throw shooter, so he tried to sneak in there and shoot him. Tried to do that many times in my occasion to sneak a few points. Bob always got caught.
Grant swishes it. In the playoffs, he came into this game shooting 61% from the line. Makes them both to again draw the Trailblazers to within 1. Jaren Jackson. Robinson against Sabonis. Duncan, Johnson. They swing it to Kersey. 2 seconds to shoot. 24-second violation.
Jerome Kersey doesn't have that kind of range. That's the difference with he and Sean Elliott on the floor. They need it for his defense, but Elliott gives them a shooter. You know how Elliott loves that corner three-point shot. That time Kersey passed it up.
Portland looking for the lead.
Got Robinson now on Wallace.
Here's Wallace. And it's still the Spurs by 1. Tim Duncan doesn't get the roll. Stoudemire around the screen to the hoop. The floater is good, and Portland's in front.
Well, you said a while ago this is best game of the 4-game series thus far.
Robinson. Rebound Duncan, and San Antonio reclaims the lead with Duncan coming to the line to try to complete a 3-point play.
Well, Tim Duncan was so upset with the shot that he missed on the last possession, but Damon Stoudemire this last possession just running Avery Johnson through all kinds of screens. He finally gets caught. That little floater in the lane. Now we've seen 2 of those in this period. Gives him a 1-point lead. Duncan with a great offensive rebound and the foul, trying to finish up the 3-point play.
The foul was Grant's 4th. Stoudemire into Grant, posting against Kersey. Ryder. 2 seconds to shoot. They don't get it off.
See about what they did that last possession? They put Kersey on Brian Grant, and they switched it over. And that time they tried to post Grant because they thought he had the mismatch. Did not happen for him. Stacey Augmon now checking into the game. We have not seen him yet today. Brian Grant will sit down.
Last minute of the 3rd. Jackson misses the 3. Robinson battling for the loose ball with Sabonis. They go to the floor, and out of there with it is Jackson. Robinson, contact, and a Blazer foul. It's on J.R. Ryder, his second. On an all-new Dateline Monday, a man faces prison when two strangers say they can fix the trial. Will he pay to guarantee his freedom? That's Dateline Monday and only a 3-point lead.
This would be a huge field goal for Portland if they could score here going into this timeout. The crowd would really be into it during the timeout. Let's see if they can get one.
Wallace out the screen for Stoudemire, who lost the dribble. It's picked up by Duncan. 2 seconds. Jaren Jackson can't beat the horn. Still a good quarter for the Blazers, who trailed by 9 at the half and now enter the fourth, down by 3. The passionate Mario Elie telling his teammates 12 minutes. 12 minutes, that's all. Since the playoffs began, he's been saying 15. You got to win 15. 3 in the first round, 4 in each of the next 3. They're 5 wins away from their first ever NBA title. 1 win away from their first trip to the NBA Finals. But perhaps some of the questions about the Trailblazers' heart has been answered in this game. Down 3-0 in the series, down 9 at halftime of an elimination game. They come out with a big third quarter and make it a game.
I don't think there's any question they're showing a tremendous amount of heart today. If they lose this game today, it's because San Antonio is a better team. And Bob, remember, game 2, if Elliott's shot doesn't go, they're in a 3-point game here trying to even the series rather than just stay alive.
Here's Greg Anthony in for the fourth quarter, at least for a while. Rasheed Wallace is open, and he hits off the Anthony assist.
Now they have their best defensive team, and Stacey Augmon is in the game with Greg Anthony. They like to get up the floor and pressure defense now.
Anthony generally plays the fourth quarter, but remember, Stoudemire is having a big game. We'll see if Anthony goes the whole way in the fourth. Avery Johnson misses, but David Robinson does not on the follow.
See penetration, and Sabonis tried to come over and block the shot. Nobody blocked out David Robinson.
Anthony from Augmon, and now Sabonis. 4 seconds to shoot. J.R. Ryder was fouled.
As Avery Johnson gets in the lane, you watch Sabonis. He comes over, and David Robinson seals off, so it looks like he's actually the defender, but he has inside position and tips the ball in. That's what happens when you go for block shots and you don't get them.
Foul was on Jaren Jackson, his second. With that one, J.R. Ryder has now made 28 free throws in a row, dating back several games. Jaren Jackson into Duncan, spins around Wallace to score, plus the foul.
So you got to give Jaren Jackson a lot of credit on that play. He improved the passing angle. Duncan had him sealed in the post. Now watch him bring the ball over to give himself a better angle to feed the post. That is a terrific play by Jackson. It's a subtle thing, but it gives a team a chance to get a 3-point play.
3 fouls on Wallace. 15 points now for Duncan. And the lead goes to 4. Anthony given room for 3. Robinson clears it.
So they go back through Duncan once again.
They do. Here's Sean Elliott. Oh, there's a tough basket, and you can tack the foul on top of it.
Sean Elliott, you normally see him shoot that 3 from the corner. Great ball passing here around the perimeter. David Robinson swings it. You get the defender running at you. You drive it at his top foot. Here comes Wallace. Back-to-back fouls. fouls, and it could be the back three-point plays.
4 now on Rasheed Wallace, who'll take a seat.
Boy, this really hurts him, Bob, because he was the one guy out there you knew that you could go through on offense. Somebody now is going to have to pick up the slack.
Consecutive 3-point plays, and a 1-point game becomes a 7-point lead for San Antonio. Ryder to the left hand. Ball, as a matter of fact. Jackson underneath to Duncan. And Mike Dunleavy has no choice but to ask for timeout.
Remember in the Lakers series, Game 4, they cut it to 2. They come out 13 straight points to start the fourth. We're seeing it once again today. A 9-point lead, the surge by San Antonio. Inside Duncan, giving him a big lift today, and the bench loves it. They want to finish this series today. Dispirited by a run. Now here's Tim Duncan. He's going to come over and challenge this shot. And he forces J.R. Ryder to take a tough shot and miss. Now he's going to be the guy who's going to be on the trail end now of this break. He sprints out ahead. Interesting play here now. Brian Grant. He's got to guard this man. He runs out to play here and opens up the entire court. Now Duncan just tips the ball in the basket with a nice little dunk. You must protect the basket inside out. You never chase out. If anything, you give up that jump shot. And again, Portland, no fast break points. San Antonio, 10. Actually, 3 for Portland, 10 for San Antonio.
Grant with his back to Elliott, looking for help. Anthony off the dribble. Tremendous reverse layup by Greg Anthony. Avery Johnson just sticks another dagger in.
In the fourth quarter, the guy doesn't miss. It's amazing. He could be going along to be a 0 for 7 or whatever, and gets to the fourth quarter, and he'll make big jump shots. Great confidence.
He scored 12. He had 14 with 8 assists in a big game 3. Now it's Sean Elliott reaching in front of Grant to bat it to Duncan. San Antonio up 9 and looking to pull away. Sean Elliott, up and under.
How about that? See, Rasheed Wallace can't match that kind of quickness. He's got 4 fouls. He's got to be very, very careful. Elliott recognizes it, just bursts to the basket.
16 for Elliott. Grant, blocked away by Robinson. Here comes Jaren Jackson. Avery Johnson. That may have finished Portland in terms of momentum.
David Robinson with the big block. It looks like Grant had a dunk. He blocks it, and once again, Avery Johnson. And you know, San Antonio is just an efficient team, Bob. They're an efficient basketball team.
All the wind has gone out of the Rose Garden on a 14-2 San Antonio run. That Sabonis halts as they leave him wide open.
Mike Dunleavy's in a little bit of a tough spot here right now. He needs defense on the floor, but his best defensive team can't score. He's got to muster some offense here.
The ball was kicked by Anthony. You had the feeling after the Avery Johnson basket, which made it a 13-point game, Anthony out, and Stoudemire back in, that even though there were more than 7 minutes left and plenty of time in theory to come back, that took all the momentum that Portland had built in the second half and just washed it away.
Well, they do timely things. And again, you know, the block shot, the subtle little things, they get out, they run. You don't see a lot of spectacular plays for them. See, now what's happened here is the minute Kerr comes into the game and he matches up against Stoudemire because he cannot pressure the ball. So Anthony goes down, they bring in Kerr to give Avery Johnson a rest. He had played the entire second half.
Steve Kerr. Elliott looking for Duncan. Back to Kerr. Little head fake. Now Jackson for three. Wow. Efficient they are.
Wow. They just will spot a weakness and go right to it. Inside, outside. You double, they make you pay with three. You don't, the big men punish you inside.
And Kerr fouls Stoudemire. Well, Portland was down by 9. They came all the way back to take the lead at 59-58, and now they're trailing by 14.
The double team, Stoudemire goes down. Kerr, pump fake again, dribble penetration, finds Jaren Jackson, gets his feet together, and knocks it down.
Back live, a foul in the lane, which stops the clock with 6:55 to play in the fourth, and maybe that much time left in Portland's season. They have 9 former lottery selections on their roster, none of them originally belonging to the Trailblazers. The Spurs have 2 great players in Duncan and Robinson, a former All-Star in Sean Elliott, and a bunch of people who know their roles and in some cases have found their first real home in the NBA. For example, Avery Johnson, Mario Elliott, and Jaren Jackson have played with 18 teams between them in the past decade. Although one of Ellie's stops was with the 2-time champion Rockets, and he was an important part of those championship teams. Here's Grant. Tough basket for him.
That's what it's all about, Bob. You got to put pieces around stars, and right now Portland is still finding out what they need to do to get to this level. But the Spurs right now are just methodically picking them apart.
Jaren Jackson out to Kerr for 3. Steve Kerr will now have the basket waved off. Foul before the shot. Foul was on Jimmy Jackson, his first.
Well, with 6:26 to go, if Portland's got to run in them, they got to start it right now, and they've got to do it on this end of the floor. Question is, can they get any stops?
Here's Jaren Jackson. The 3 is short, and Jimmy Jackson takes it. Williams into the lane, trying to lay it off, and they lose it.
Notice how when San Antonio closes out, if you're a shooter, they force you to put the ball on the floor. You know what kind of security you have if you got those 2 guys back there blocking shots? You can get up and pressure the ball knowing if a guy breaks you down, if he doesn't pull up and shoot a jump shot and gets too deep, they're probably not going to be able to score against those 2 guys.
Spurs come back leading by 12. David Robinson makes it 14.
No panic. No panic at all when Portland took the lead. He said, get it together, make a little run on the road, quiet this crowd, and that's what they've done.
It's been said of the very deep Blazers that in effect they have 2 first teams. Not today, only 5 points from their bench. Williams is one of those bench players. He now has 5 points. Anthony has the other 2, 7 points for their reserves.
You know, Bob, going into the season, people were talking about Portland was trying to beat conventional wisdom. Normally you win with stars.
Avery Johnson went to the right hand, and Brian Grant swatted it into the stands.
You know, the history of the game is Jordan and Pippen and Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars and Magic and Worthy and Jabbar and Bird and McHale. This team doesn't have those kind of stars. They got depth.
And they've got the ball after Grant cut in front. Here's Stoudemire. It's stripped away from him. Exchange of turnovers. Back comes Elliott for San Antonio. Jaren Jackson wants a 3 and has a 3.
This guy in game 3 and 4, I mean, he's become the stars. The Lakers series, games 3 and 4, shot him out today once again. Started calling him Mr. Game 3 and 4 or whatever. Got to give him a nickname. You got Mr. October and all these other guys, Bob. You got to come up with one for him.
He just lays in the weeds the first couple games, lets the series take its course, then he comes in and terminates.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe we should call him the Eliminator. He comes on big in those elimination games. He helped to send the Lakers home and appears to be...
You can almost get, what, 10, 12 days rest, and that rest versus rust, always take rest.
Here's Damon Stoudemire to Wallace. It squirts through his hands, and Johnson has it. 4 minutes to play. Touched last by Portland. Spurs ball, 3:49 left. They're up by 15. Avery Johnson with the right hand and a foul. After the game, NBC is giving you a second chance.
For his own psyche.
You're going to see 3 finales on NBC. Mad About You, Third Rock, and Portland's season finale. This is it to Elliott. 16-point lead with 3.5 remaining. Anthony for the steal at the other end. As Kelvin Cater
are the better team, and Bob, it's matchups. That's what it's all about in this game, and the post play of Portland was non-existent because of Duncan and Robinson.
Wallace turnaround, short. Portland had a terrific season. They had the best record in the league the first 2/3 or so of the year. They faded a bit at the end of the regular season, then had a good playoff run, sweeping Phoenix and taking Utah out in 6. So they've accomplished a lot, but they're still a work in progress.
Yes, they are.
Jaren Jackson having a field day or night. Man.
Popovich said after that one goes down, I'm going to clear the bench, let these guys enjoy the last couple minutes of this game.
Damon Stoudemire with a 3 of his own.
And Bob, you look up at the scoreboard. We did our open. You said, Doug, what do they have to do today? I said, Bob, they got to score some points. Well, you know what? They got 74 here with 2:13 to go. So you know what? David Robinson talked about the calling card being defense. They believed in it. And once again, it's going to move them on to the next round.
Sean Elliott is short with it. And they bring the hammer down on the road. This is a Spurs trademark. Stoudemire with the drive to the hoop, and then the layup hits the front of the rim. This is the best road team in the NBA over the course of the regular season and now playoffs. They'll be 22-9 on the road overall. More important, 6-0 away from San Antonio in the playoffs.
I think Minnesota did them a great favor in the first round. They beat them in Game 2, and since that point in time, they've been untouchable. How about the sign up there? This one young lady from Portland says, "Good luck, Jerome, get your ring." Says a lot about the feelings they have here for him in Portland.
These are great fans.
Yes, they are.
Tremendous fans. Passionate and yet civil, which can't be said for fans everywhere.
We've been blessed. You know, San Antonio with great fans. We've talked about the blue-collar town, the ABA franchise, how it went back to that hemisphere and the bleacher bums and everything, and they have to be ecstatic right now in San Antonio.
First ABA team to make it to the NBA Finals. Fast.
And how about had they reacted to a 6-8 start and shook it up by firing their coach and making trades?
Greg Anthony missing the 3. He and Stoudemire on the floor at the same time. And there's a foul called by Hugh Evans with 1:17 remaining. How does San Antonio match up? First with Indiana, then with New York. Maybe I should reverse it because New York has the 2-1 lead in the series.
Well, with New York, without Patrick being there, they lose a big man. That's vital. You've got to have some big people now. They have.
If I'm not mistaken, because of the abbreviated schedule, the Spurs didn't play either team during the year, not even once.
That is correct. So this will be new ground. They have not seen either team all season long. It tells you a little bit also about that 50-game shortened season.
Steve Kerr had it knocked away. If Indiana comes back and beats New York, and if it's Pacers-Spurs, Shouldn't they play at least the first possession with a red, white, and blue ball?
Well, we got you calling the game. The Spirits of St. Louis will be very proud, so it'll just be an all-ABA night.
Got to have Dr. J in attendance.
There's the comparison you see once again. Indiana scoring almost 95 points during the regular season, shooting the ball, great free throw shooting team. Not a good rebounding team, especially on the defensive board. That would be a concern. If the fans appreciate how well he played in this series.
Malik Rose from Steve Kerr.
How about Steve Kerr now? He's won 3 championships with Chicago. He said, I'm going to see if I can pick me a team here that I'll fit well on. He's dancing right into the NBA Finals once again.
It wasn't really the most productive of seasons for Kerr, but like you say, he's got a chance for another ring. Malik Rose has it stuffed back in his face by Kelvin Cato. Stoudemire, with the Spurs holding a team meeting around him, manages to get rid of it. Here's Cato. He makes one of Antonio Daniels in for a few moments. How good has San Antonio's defense been, and in some cases how poor, especially in Game 3, has Portland's shooting been? Not only will the Blazers be swept, but they will set a record for the fewest points ever scored in a 4-game playoff series in the history of the NBA. They've averaged about 75 points a game in this series.
You know what's really amazing is that Portland actually played the Spurs better at home than they did on the road. It's almost like they had more resolve, the Spurs did, being on the road. They banded together. See Jerome Kersey and Stoudemire hugging each other here. I'm sure Jerome is telling him, you know, young guy, you're going to have your opportunities. Just keep growing.
Meanwhile, I'm going back to the finals again, says Jerome. I'm going to be 37 in a couple of weeks. It's my 15th year in the league. I'm running out of time. Stoudemire, a 3 at the buzzer. And that's the way the season ends for him and the Trailblazers.
And look at the San Antonio Spurs. They're not jumping up and down. They're only where they want to be now. When they win it all, that's when you'll see them celebrate. Popovich, Mike Dunleavy shaking hands. And this is the great part about the sport. After it's all over, after you've fought a team right to the finish, you congratulate each other. One team goes home, the next one moves on to the finals.
After beating Utah, Isaiah Ryder ripped off his jersey in jubilation and danced around the court. Here he's got it off, but he's trudging to the locker room in dejection. 11 down, 4 to go for David Robinson and the Spurs. Here he is with them on.
All right.
Who played through injuries all season will miss the rest of the playoffs for the Knicks. Ewing has a partial tear in his Achilles.
Is this the greatest disappointment that you've had in your career?
I think so. I have a golden opportunity. But, you know, I still believe in my teammates, and I think that, you know, they can go out there and get it. I'm telling them that they better go get me my ring. You know, I'm not going to be able to be on the court with them.